Give me countdown.
You turned down
5.
10. Oh shit.
Give me 5. Give me 5.
Oh, 5, 4, 3,
Quiet on the ship. Stop acting like a
2,
bitch.
1.
You're on.
What's up, everybody? My name is Alex. You're gonna be back to the season 2, episode 6. Don't want to forget 6. It's THEZXSHOw and 6, 7.
Oh, jeez.
We got Joshua and Adam in the building, just the crew. We've been. I interviewed Joshua back in season 1, episode 2. Now we're having. We gotta start that whole shit over. You threw me off with this shit. Two, 1. What's up, everybody? My name is Alex. Welcome back to season 2, episode 6, 7. You know what I mean? 6, 7. Look. Tomorrow's episode 7, right? We got Esteban tomorrow for episode 7. I got the crew acting the fool here, but this is a THEZXSHOw. I got one of my audio guys, Adam. I got Joshua in the back acting the fool, the switching. Well, this is episode 6, man, and I'm very excited to interview Adam. I think this is one of the guys where, it's casual conversations can turn into a long hour conversations. You know, it starts off with just, hey man, that video game was cool, and then we talk about the stuff, we talk about life. But we had a Kindle relationship over zip ties, which you'll get over later. But I just want to introduce you guys to Adam
Shnayder.
Okay.
What's up, guys?
Hey, introduce yourself, Adam, and maybe tell us something about yourself that people don't probably know about.
My name's Adam Shnayder. I'm 27 years old. I started coming to the IMS school 3 months ago.
Yeah, 3 months ago.
And I graduated from the University of Alabama, and I can also dislocate my ring finger knuckle.
I can see that. Damn.
On both of them.
Okay. I can just like my shoulder looks. So I can just like pop it on command.
Oh, pop
this
lock,
one too.
Pop lock and drop it.
I can drop. Oh man, this is gonna be an interesting episode. Okay. First of all, Adam, man, take us back, man. How are you, man? How you feeling? How's life treating you right now?
Life's great. I just came back from the XMS. I don't remember the summit, the business summit.
Right.
Being here has really helped a lot, especially leaving university because I thought I was lost. And just learning from the 2 to 3 months I've been here have just been amazing. You know, I got to meet so many amazing new people. Josh over there, Mr. 6'7", and then, you, Alex.
Mr. 6'7" is crazy.
Sorry, I had to point that out. Sorry, but overall, just life's awesome right now.
That's great, man.
And, my upbringing a little rough, and up till a certain point, I can't remember off the top of my head, but here's just been amazing. So I can't really complain.
A lot of people that came up on the show has always told me that now they're at a point where they're okay, which I always say is great. Which I always feel like, okay, I always am happy to know that people are starting off strong now.
Yeah.
Compared to back then, right? And all of us have our stories. And the reason I bring up the zip tie story was because that was the first time we actually got close, where you opened up to me and I opened up a little bit about myself. And it's always a beautiful thing where it could be simple as like we're tying cables together, like with zip ties, and then all of a sudden we're just talking about something really deep. But you mentioned it, but how was growing up for you? And you were born in where?
I was born in Highland Park, Illinois. Both my parents are Russian immigrants. They came over here in the 80s. My mom in 1980, my dad in 1985. Oh. But back then, they were both born specifically in Kiev, Ukraine, but it was the Soviet Union back then.
Oh,
so we, at times, consider ourselves Russian, but with, the conflict, Ukrainian, I'm not going to get into that, but growing up has been kind of rough, mainly because, with immigrant parents, you never know what you get. You either get the best parents or, they're not the best parents. I got both. My mom is my guardian angel. I mean, she saved me from my biological dad, and, he was never physically abusive. He was very mentally and verbally abusive. He always told me, I wasn't going to make it. He always told me that I was a mistake. He also said that, my mom was just a bunch of these horrible names, especially, you know, when I met him the last time he was alive. He passed away 2 years ago. And he, as a kid, he was never there, but he was there. You know what I'm saying? Think of it as like a inanimate object, like a rock.
Right.
I mean, he always came home. He was a severe alcoholic. So he'd come back at night, yell at my mom, come back upstairs, said hi, nothing really much. Went back to work the next day, which it's sad to see because people with addiction, some people have extremely high potential, but they never fix their problems at first to reach their potential. My dad, an example of that is my dad was a phenomenal mechanic. He also was a phenomenal detailer in cars. Like, my mom said it like this. He had the hands of gold, but he had a crap brain. So, and it's true. But I'm also kind of moving forward on that. I've never seen them happy. Not once.
Them two together or just him?
Both. Oh. I've either seen him drunk, I've seen him sober, which he was not a very nice person either way. Right. He yelled at my mom all the time, and I would always just sit there on the staircase like, wow, this is life. So, and growing up, I realized, smoking cigarettes at 5 years old was bad, which, you learn that usually a little bit later if, you have, two amazing parents, which, for people out there who have two amazing parents, God bless them. They've worked super hard to, raise their kids. Yeah. My dad didn't really want to. I mean, that was his choice. So he would always, sit out in the garage and white, those white, like crappy plastic lawn chairs.
Oh yeah, the one that breaks and you lean to the back.
Like the drunkle at the barbecue.
Exactly, bro. Oh no, I know that.
Yeah,
too many of
he
that.
was always out there with Svedka in his hand, just. So I laugh about these things, and a lot of people probably notice that I laugh a lot.
Right.
But it means sometimes that doesn't mean I'm laughing out of the like, oh, that's funny. It's not all the time. It's my way of coping as well.
Yeah, which I think it's important to, like, I get it. Sometimes it's like people were like, oh, why are you laughing at that? Shouldn't you laughing at? You shouldn't be laughing at your pain, or should. I think it's the best way to just be like, this happened, but it wasn't like it killed me. It wasn't like it was gonna kill me inside. It wasn't like it was gonna kill me on the outside. It did kill me seeing all that, but at the end of the day, knowing that where I'm at right now and how far I'm away from him as a person, because I had somewhat of a similar thing where my father was this way and I was this way, and it was kind of hard to have that relationship with my father here and there. Thankfully, he quit and he found Jesus, and me and my dad have a whole story that people don't know, but.
Yeah, of course.
But to see, like, I remember those days where I would just be like, man, I just want my dad. You know what I mean? I want a father figure. Was there any father figures in your life that,
yes.
Right, was there like an uncle or anything like that? No, keep going.
Yes, so James Leonard, shout out to you, Jim. Love you like my actual dad. He came into my life, pretty much straightened me out because I was kind of heading towards the wrong path, which I'll get to in a minute because that's actually, I don't think I've told you yet. Basically, he came into my life when I was in 4th grade, I think, and helped me straighten out some bad habits that I had into good habits, as well as, through middle school was there for me when times were rough, especially when I started hitting depression. So kind of moving on to 8th grade, unfortunately, my dad also had some really nasty anger issues. Like, I also kind of grew up with it, sadly, but mainly the anger issues was the sad part. But because I don't like that part of me, and I unfortunately, we always have our problems. They'll never go away. I know people say like, oh, you can work on it to make it go away. Some things just won't go away. Yeah. So 8th grade, I used to get really angry. I got physically angry. Used to, flip tables. Like if you were mad at losing a poker game. I unfortunately said some things to other people that maybe I shouldn't have said, like, threats. Right. And, going into 9th grade through 10th grade, it just got exponentially worse and worse and worse. Like 9th grade is where, you're a teenager hitting puberty, the chemicals and blah, blah, blah. And, it gets worse. So there were times I didn't get like as much help maybe as I should have, but I can sit here years later now and admit, that was 100% my fault. Back then I would have been like, oh, the world's against me, but I physically started fights. I got into, I made some death threats that I'm really not proud of, and I actually got suspended for a year from high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember going into the office my final time. Let me rephrase.
I went there 500 times. One time was the last time.
Yeah, and then I did eventually go back to that same high school because I worked really hard. But before that, when I was still really angry and still had these issues, they were like, Adam, we've given you so many chances. You've completely, swept that under the rug within the first few days, and with that, we can't have you around. So I transferred to a school called Connections, which, shout out to you guys. You guys truly changed my life for the best. You sorted out a 14-year-old kid who thought he was, excuse my language, but the shit. But, I heard other people's stories while I was at Connections, because Connections is also a school where people have anger management, drug issues, affiliations in gangs even too.
Wow.
So I also learned these stories, and one stuck out to me that truly changed my life. And this kid is my best friend, TJ. He told me a story that, like I said, it changed my life completely. And then I heard others, and then it just grew. But this one, he said that on a good day, he got cigarette burns. On a bad day, he had a gun to the face.
Wow.
And I heard that, and it made me realize, maybe I'm not the only one in this world with problems.
Right.
And then you hear other people's stories, and it's just amazing that some of these people, one kid tried to commit suicide twice and failed, but his parents didn't care. You hear all these stories, and everyone comes from a different part of life, and it's not only just insane, but just makes you really rethink your life stories and everything.
Yeah.
And I did work my way back a couple of years later back to my high school. I was on way better terms. I said my apologies to everybody, but that was kind of my high school career.
I think it wasn't. I always tell people it's not your fault. It's not your fault you was like that. People have to understand that maybe you were like this, and no, mainly because it was yo, how are you gonna be this certain way when your dad's acting like this, when things like this are acting like home? When I talk to people that have that type of anger issues or been through that, I always tell them it's not your fault. Even if you think it is, even if you think oh, I did this, I should have listened, I always tell them it's not your fault. It was the way that you were raised, and the way that you saw things, and the way that you saw problems being solved, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was something that I had to swallow with, because when I got older, I realized that most of my troubles weren't even my fault. Most of my troubles just came because it trickled down to me, right? Rather if it was anger, rather if it was addiction, rather if it was it trickled down. Rather if it was me or my cousins, I seen that. With me, it was my father's anger. It was with my father's fail to comprehend things at the moment, and to just take a breath and be all right, cool. You know what? It's not that big of a deal. Let's just drop it. I just started learning how to do that. I just started learning how to when I come off a really, really, really tense moment, I have to now remind myself to not trigger myself, to be you know what, Alex, it's not worth it. It's not worth getting this angry. It's not worth being so hard on yourself. It's not, because it's not your fault.
I guess the way I look at it, because again, everyone here has different perspectives on the way they grow up.
Yeah.
In my case, even though I was raised with an alcoholic father for 10 years, and then even though my anger issues did stem from him, it's up to me what I do with them, and I made some poor choices.
Right.
And in that case, that's my fault. And do I have any regrets? Yes and no. Yes, because what I did was not good. I was just doing what I said, the threats, punching people. At the same time, no, because I'm sitting right here. I tried really hard to change my behavioral issues, and I definitely got a little on the wrist every now and again.
But I feel like as your friend, I can tell you like it's not your fault. Because again, and especially at a young age, you only do stuff because what you've seen, right? And even if you had the choice to do what it was, how do you know how to do with it if you didn't know how to do the opposite of it? If no one kind of showed you to do the opposite of what you weren't supposed to do. I kind of look at it that way because no one should be that hard on themselves, especially what they went through, and especially because you were just a child. You didn't ask for your father. You didn't ask for, all that.
But at the same time, I look at it as a blessing because I would never have met Jim, who's amazing. He's also very scary when he's mad. Let me tell you. But he's basically my dad. I mean, you'll always hear me talk, like even, outside of the show, you'll hear me say, my dad's side of the family and my side of the family. Because my dad's side of the family, I'm not really close to. Every time we had like a family gathering, which is literally just 5 people, it was actually probably 6, but my uncle, my dad, my grandfather, my grandmother, my mom, and me. And there was always arguments. People took sides. It was always an argument every time we went. And I was just like, okay, like, there's not much you can do about it as, someone who's like, like 5 through 10,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you don't know what's going on. You don't know. You just see arguing. You're like, kind of want to stay away from that. But at the end of the day, I looked back at it. I'm just like, this is more or less just a learning experience, because growing up, and especially after I left Connection, started going into community college, I told my mom, I'm like, look, I don't want to be that same person I was when I first got into high school. You and dad arguing. So I want to, change myself for the better. Right. And going through community college, I was still kind of like that post-high school, still like trying to cope with issues, still trying to, get more out there, talk more, forgot the word for it, extroverted. Yeah, because fun fact, I was actually very introverted until community college. So I really haven't been, talkative for long. But, I only had really 2 friends, 3, growing up, And, I've been bullied. We've all been through that. We've all had, some people go up to you and be like, hey, whatever.
Yeah, right.
But again, I've actually had 2 childhood friends that are basically brothers to me. I hadn't known since 2003. So before Josh and probably you were born.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm Unk status now.
Yeah,
No, but like I said, they're there for me. They've always been there for me. Going into community college is actually I would say like the testing phase, more or less, before I actually went to university, because it really tested my emotional, not status, but my mindset kind of.
Your mindset, right.
So, sorry, I can't think of the word for it, but
No, you're good.
my best friend actually committed suicide. Not Jeremy or Noah. I had David, my other best friend. He killed himself, and it tore me apart. I did overdose twice because of it. I have epilepsy, and as stupid as it sounds, I did overdose on my epilepsy medicine. I took about 3,000 milligrams, 4,000 milligrams. Just popped it in, was out.
Wow.
So, yeah, next day wasn't fun. I was still feeling the effects, but it hit me really bad because I was like, holy crap. I didn't think this would happen. I thought we'd grow old. Just won't happen. And what I took out of that was that you never know how long you're going to be here. And also people who have depression do hide it very well.
Yeah.
He acted like everything was fine, but then he overdosed, I don't know what he overdosed on, but he passed away right there on the floor. And, you know, going to his funeral really just took everything out of me.
Because that was your friend, you know? And I think that's something where, like, to me, how I look at it is that's part of your inner childhood. Because when you have a friend that you can act yourself with, or when you have a friend that, you know, is essentially your best friend, like, that's something that, like, it takes a part of you. It takes a lot of you, like death itself, like, you know, knowing that you won't see your friend again, knowing that you won't hang out again, knowing that you won't hear his laugh, or knowing that you won't dab him up, or, you know, anything like that. It's hard because, man, I can't tell you like what I would do right in that situation, and to know like you're even here is a blessing.
Yeah, and you know, like David was a good kid, you know, 19, had a bright future, also liked anime. We always talked anime like Dragon Ball Z. We'd always, you know, make fun of Kid Goku or, you know, Master Roshi during the training arc, you know, and Krillin when they had the milk.
The milk is, oh my God. Oh, that's why you like my truck.
Hey, man, I like a truck, the Dragon Ball Z truck.
Oh, yeah, dude, that was fucking awesome.
But no, you know, at the end of the day, I always look at it, you know, seeing him, you know, having to close the casket, I'm like, that was it. But at the end of the day, I know he's not suffering because he's had depression from what I heard after that for a long time. He didn't talk to really many people about it, but, you know, he was a blessing in my life. He was actually the first friend I ever had outside of, you know, family and family friends. 2001 is when I met him at 3 years old. So, yeah, he's been in my life for many, many years. We went to community college, and then I remember the day after my mom's birthday, and that's when she told me, like, David killed himself. So.
And bring us back to that moment, you know, like, where were you, and what was, like, you know, your mindset, you know, hearing that?
You know, being 19, still, you know, brain development, I know that sounds a little weird, but, you know, still trying to kind of, that post-development, but I was pretty, I wouldn't say emotional. I didn't cry, but I just stayed silent. I was like, my mom told me, and she was like, hey, you know, when was the last time you hung out with him? And I was like, a month ago. Why? Killed himself just yesterday. Like, okay. I did not talk the rest of that night, nor did I talk to my parents a lot the next day. I just went to school like basically like, did this actually just happen? You know?
Because you don't really like feel it at the moment. You just kind of, like, it's just words. And then once it's words, it's like everything else is just still. You just feel the stillness of the world just stop spinning.
And losing someone so close to you, it doesn't feel real. It really doesn't, because the day I went to his funeral, I looked at the casket, you know, I almost burst into tears. I was like, why did you do this? I was, you know, I prayed, and I was like, you know, the last thing, you know, that I personally was talking to him about was like, oh, maybe, you know, you can maybe get a girl's number, because we went to Six Flags, and she thought someone was cute, and I'm like, get the number. And, you know, I mean, didn't work out, but you know what? We had a really great day there. We came back, and again, those just everything from when we were 3 up till, you know, that point just kind of hit me. All of a sudden, I'm like, I can't believe it. It's just, you just look at them sleeping in the casket, and you're just like I was speechless, and I couldn't say anything. I also kind of going back to what I was praying about. I'm like, I'm gonna miss you, my brother, and I'm gonna miss every memory we've had together. I'm gonna, you know, and everyone that you love, that you left behind, will always keep you in their memories. So I, you know, said an amen, told him goodbye, said for the sermon, I had to leave. And, you know, like after that really woke me up to say that, you know, everyone in this world, you know, I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry. So let me restart that. Everyone in this world has a limited time.
Yeah.
You're not immortal, or else, you know, life wouldn't be as interesting, you know? And it really taught me that keep your friends close and your family close, because I also grew up having all my family. I told you this off camera. All my family's over in Michigan, or they're spread out over. So I'm used to having my mom, and my dad's side of the family, which debatable there, but I grew up having other friends that were family to me, like at home.
Yeah.
So everyone in Michigan, grows tight, and I'm absolutely tight with everyone in Michigan. Love you guys. So, I grew up with, friends as family, trying to make my own,
Yeah.
And, I cherish everyone that I've ever met, Josh, you, Alex, Double D, Ace, everyone here, as well as, friends in Alabama who, I'm in a fantasy league with, and, other things as well outside of that fantasy league and also here. Because what? They're family. You guys, I want to keep you guys, close. As, I haven't known you guys, too long, but, you never know how long you have.
Right.
And that's, that's part of the reason why I think like that, because since David's been gone, I'm like, wow, whoever I meet and I start to grow a connection with, I want to treat them like family, ask them how they're doing, talk to them a lot. Mm-hmm. And, that's why you hear me, off camera. I'm a very talkative person. So you hear me talking about random stuff, just, seeing how everyone's doing.
And I always appreciated that because I knew that if I hadn't talked to no one, I knew I was going to talk to you. If no one was going to talk, I knew you were going to talk. And I never looked at it like, oh, that guy talks a lot. No, I always looked at it as like, that guy's trying to check on everybody and see if everybody's okay.
Yeah, because whenever I go around and talk to people, because you see me walking around saying, talking to everybody, but I don't like to leave anyone out. I really don't. So whenever I see someone sitting alone, I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Because I've been there and I've had people that, I've had people kind of walk past by and don't ask how I'm doing. I'm not saying, oh, woe is me. No. But I've had a couple of those times where people kind of walk by, and we all have.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to be that person that just sits idly by as someone sits alone, Because, in middle school as well, me and two of my best friends, my childhood best friends, it was just three of us. We got the whole empty table. Now, give or take, there were perks to that. So if we wanted to play spin the bottle with an ice box.
With an ice box,
yeah, we spin that shit. If it goes off the table, no one has to worry about their lunch getting knocked off. So, because that happened once.
Okay.
But, all in all, I always, I have a, I have a loving heart. At least I try to, I'm not perfect. But at the end of the day, I look at everyone as you know what? They also, no matter how mean, rude, or crude, or how bad of a day they're having, there's a part of them that wants to be loved.
Yeah.
And, I want to go up to them and be like, hey, how are you doing? If someone has a bad day and they want to be left alone, totally get that. I will kind of okay.
Let them be.
Yeah. And, kind of moving on from community college after that, I saw my dad for the first time in 12 years. This is the last time I saw him alive. And it didn't go well at all. I'll just say that. It did not go well at all. My mom was like, maybe you should talk to him before he passed away. He was diagnosed with metastatic cancer.
Oh, wow.
So for those who don't know what metastatic cancer is, it's tumors that grow everywhere. It's not like a particular place gallbladder cancer or pancreatic cancer.
It's all over the place.
It's everywhere.
Wow.
My dad had a tumor removed from his tongue. He had a tumor removed from, where was it? I think in his mouth too.
Wow.
So it's just, whenever he was talking, whenever you saw the inside, it looked like a cave in Minecraft.
Oh my God.
Sorry, you got to have a little humor with it.
No, I mean, and that is another kick in the balls, by the world because, man, did it suck knowing that your dad was going to pass away even though you didn't have this relationship with him?
I knew it was coming. So this is going to take kind of a dark turn. I'm not surprised he died. I'm not surprised he passed away. He's been drinking and drinking and drinking. It's basically his whole life. My mom told me when they first started dating as well, he was not, he drank, but not that much. Right. It was only for fun. And he had a really good personality, was apparently from what my mom told me is hit it off well with the ladies.
Got your mom.
Boom.
Boom. Dun, dun.
But yeah, then, it did get, unfortunately, progressively worse and worse because my dad was a physically angry guy.
Right.
And even, when I was 2, I was diagnosed with autism. And after that, his drinking got way worse after finding it out. So it just, he was also a heavy smoker. Like, he went through 3 packs a day. Yeah, he did that, drank vodka, which the Russians' favorite drink. I mean, a little guilty of that. I like a little, shot of vodka on social occasions. But man, there's not much I can say about the guy. I'm not surprised, kind of coming back to your point, got a little backstory. Sorry, a little flashback.
No,
Yeah. My dad meeting him, that also felt unreal because I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
But again, it didn't go well. And something that stuck out to me that really just made me want to leave the house is that he was kind of a misogynist. He was also racist, very racist. He was, one thing he told me is like, oh, if you have the confidence, you can treat women however you want, which baffled me because I know he meant that in a horrible way. And just saying that all around is just horrible. I'm like, why? I'm like, Dad, for one, women have hearts too. Like, there's very confident women out there, as well as confident men. And I told him, I'm like, look, you can't have that mindset. And he was like, oh, whatever. As long as I have alcohol and, my confidence, then I can treat anyone however I want. And again, it wasn't even just women, it was men too. At a wedding my mom and my dad went to, just by looking at his ex-weird, my dad came up and damn near, made the guy lose vision in his right eye because he punched him so hard.
Wow.
Yeah, and he also, he also went on top of the guy's car and started smashing it. He was pretty violent. If I have kids, I want them to know that they are loved by me. Yeah. And I want them to know that they are loved by their mom. I want them to know that they're going to be, supported throughout their life. But I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to coddle them. I'm going to be like, get your ass up or else.
Are you at a point with your father where, he passed away, yes, but did you ever thought about forgiving him? Was there any thoughts of because, I see it, and I know everyone's situation is different, you know what I mean? And it's and it sucks. And even hearing the story reminds me of I don't know if you've ever seen BoJack Horseman, but
oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It was kind of like his story where his dad was the same way, abusive, alcoholic, mentally, but they all, he said this really beautiful quote where it was like, we were a broken ship, but for one night we would get together, and it almost felt like we all knew that we were drowning, but it was, the beauty of that was we were all drowning together.
Yeah, and unfortunately my dad did not think that way. He was a very materialistic guy. So when my parents got divorced back in 2006 or 7, he told, again, some of the stuff is from what my mom told me. So she heard that when they were going through the divorce, my dad said, you can go and the kid can go, but you're not having anything else.
Wow.
So he also, when I saw him again for that first time in 12 years, he also threatened to kill me. We were having an argument for 30 minutes. He's one of the only people that has made me yell, legit, just flat out, just yell. Because I'm not the yelling type.
Right.
So I don't like yelling, or I'll be very quiet and blunt. I'm the quiet kind of angry, but he was treating his wife and her daughter very bad, and that's I'm not going to go through with all that, but it just wasn't good. So I yelled at him, basically telling him why he shouldn't do that. Yeah. And if you were going to do anything to them, I'm going to get you. I'm going to,
fight.
Game on. I don't like it when people are treated that way.
Exactly.
And, kind of adding on to that, what I should have finished the point before, and I'll get back to so sorry.
No, you're fine.
But, my dad, and excuse my language for this one, but this was actually what he said. he told me, he's like, hey, you want to see something? I'm like, sure. He's like, hey, bitch, get in here. That was to his wife. And I'm like, she came, and I'm like, I looked at it, I'm like, what the is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I pulled her to the side, I'm like, does he treat you like this, like every day? And he was like, she didn't say it, but it was, I kind of got
You saw it.
I saw
Yeah.
it. And I saw it as a kid, and I saw it as an adult. So I have two different perspectives on it. And seeing that as an adult, I told my mom after that day, I was like, holy crap, I'm sorry, I know what you mean. I everything you've told me over the years, I see what you mean now. Because, yeah, my dad, after he threatened to kill me, he said, after I yelled at him, he pulled out a butter knife, which is not very threatening.
Like, really, Dad? A butter knife?
Bruh.
He was like, I'm gonna skin this.
Well, Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese.
No, but he took a knife and he's like, you really want to go? I was about 2 seconds away from taking that knife out of his hand there. But I was like, wait a minute, there's a better way to handle this. So I gave him a hug, which is probably one of the hardest things to do. I did not want to, but I did. And and this is where, the threat came in. He was like, you are so damn lucky you are my son, because if you weren't, I would have stabbed you right here. He actually pointed to, here, my heart. And I'm like, okay, I'm not surprised by any means.
Yeah.
Because, he's an alcoholic. He also, again, very racist. I won't say what he said because it was god awful. But he told me some things, and after I told him, my best friend, Jeremy, specifically, he's black, and love that man. He is a brother to me. I've gone to his house, he's gone to mine. We've done a lot. We've been through everything together, grew up from, basically kinder care up till now.
Wow.
So, when I told him that, he was disappointed. He's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, okay, he's a good person. It doesn't matter. And I had to try telling him that. The moral of the story also about that is like, arguing with an alcoholic is like yelling at a brick wall.
It is.
They're not going to change unless they make that change. And obviously, he's dead, so he never made the change. And, a lot of other things he said to me was like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to do what I love most. And he drank himself to death. I mean, he also survived a 0.43 blood alcohol level.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'll say this. Even though he wasn't the best person on this planet, there are definitely other people that have it a billion times worse. I mean, I also look at myself like, you know what? I grew from this. Some people are in such unfortunate situations that we don't even know about. You can see people walking, out in IMS. They might have some horrible situations. You never know. It's just an example, but it could be way worse.
No, I mean, and I think that's something like it's interesting to see that. Interesting to even look at you and know what you've been through. It's heartbreaking, and the fact that you're strong and you're confident and talking about it and you're open to it really means to me that that was probably a long period of trying to reflect and get over it.
Definitely.
And how was how did you get over everything? How did you what did you do? It was a lot, man. You lost your friend, your dad, and was it your mom? Because you just say your mom was your guardian angel.
She is, and she helped me really get through that. I've also lost my grandfather, who there was only a few people on my dad's side of the family that I loved. My uncle, who was amazing and understood what, my dad was doing and did not approve of it. Right. And my grandfather as well, but unfortunately they passed away. My grandfather passed away in 2010 when I was 12, and my uncle died when I was 21. And, I loved them to death, but unfortunately they're not here. So there's not a lot of people I can talk to on that side of the family. So, and you know what? I personally think it might be for the best. And I told my mom this, I think a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, I look back on everything that happened. If I could change anything, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. I've matured a lot. I'm adulting.
You're adulting, yeah.
Yeah, at least I try. And also, I've really learned how to adapt to other environments. And, going to Alabama really helped with that. Specifically because it was a whole different culture. Okay. I mean, Southern hospitality is a real thing. And, meeting people there as opposed to here really also changed my perspective because people were so nice. And also, it's a college town, Tuscaloosa. You're going to get the varsity and all.
Yeah, you're gonna get them.
I mean,
It's Alabama too.
it is. Roll Tide, by the way.
Roll Tide.
But all those friends that I have been so nice to me. I can go down the list like Nathan, Ryan, two Ryans.
Two Ryans.
Austin, Jack, Nick. I can shout out to every single one of you guys. You guys have made my experience at Alabama just amazing, and I'll never forget it. So they have also helped me, through rough times as well. And again, some of those guys I named off were in a fantasy league, so they're going to be my friends for life. And I think I told you the punishment. I'm not going to say it on here. But you know what? Every single one of those people, even those that I haven't named, have had a huge impact on my life. Mm-hmm. I mean, just getting to know them, also their backstories, which will take like another 5 hours.
That's another 5 episodes right there.
Yeah, right? Part 2. No, anyway. But no, they're amazing people. I mean, there is nothing in this world I wouldn't do for everyone in Alabama. Again, here, Michigan, wherever I have friends, they need me for something serious, I'll be there. Mm-hmm. If they need to talk, I'm a text away. I'm a call away. I'll be right there. Now, I'm not going to look at my screen like I'm waiting, but...
Come on, text me. I know you're going through something. Please. But no, I man, just hearing everything, first of all, God bless you, man. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless your mom. God bless your friends, and just to me, my thing is just realize that everything was for a reason. And
Absolutely.
when you wake up, when you go to sleep, and when you think about all these things, just remember that at the end of the day, and at the end of the end of the tunnel, mm-hmm. right? When we go eventually take our last breath, you have to understand that life is precious.
It is.
Rather there's bad people in it, rather there's good people in it, rather there was family that hurt us, or rather there was no family that hurt us. Life is precious.
It is.
And the fact that you're treating everyone with that type of respect. I mean, myself, that was me. I didn't really share this, but my grandma died of cancer, breast cancer, when I was about, I want to say 13. I was in 8th grade. So about 13, 14. And seeing her pass away in front of me and in front of my aunts, my mom, my dad, my grandpa, it took a lot out of me, because at the moment I realized that, I can lose the very love of my life, or I can lose someone that I hold very dear to my life.
Absolutely.
No, it's okay. And the thing about that is that it feels like for a moment there's no return, right? You don't feel like there's nothing going forward. There feels like nothing's gonna go backwards. You just feel like you're just in that moment and you're just seeing the end of times just hit you.
Yeah.
And I feel like, for everyone that's watching, that are going through something like that, or going through a family death or anything like that, just know that it's okay to cry. It's okay to go through the emotions. There's 5 stages of grief, right? And then you're gonna go through that, right? I believe in this. I believe that everyone's God's children, and I feel like eventually when God takes his children, you just have to look at it as a blessing. Tempted father, and more of all, a loving father. A lot of times, it sucks, and I know it sucks, when you hear people's stories about their dads, and you're just like, yeah, it's cool. I didn't have that. Yeah, but now think about it where your son or your daughter, little Adam, gets to say, no, my father, great father. He taught me how to swim, he taught me how to fish, he taught me how to ball, he taught me all this. He brought me around good guys. Mm-hmm. He brought me around his family, never had trouble. Yes, I had my own things, but he was always there.
Yeah, and I would like in the perfect world, I'd love them to be like, oh, he's the best father in the world. We're not all perfect, but
No, but
at the end,
here, I'll tell you this. Don't overthink. Don't doubt yourself either. You are the best dad. You will be the best dad. In your children's eye, you will be the best dad. Why? Because you have something that most people don't have, and that's a big heart. You apologize a lot because you think that you're doing something wrong. When in reality, you're not. The reality is all in here. And this, I never talked to anyone like this, but you're a friend of mine. So just know that you will be a good dad, and you're already a great friend, and people love you. I love you. Shit, I'm getting a little choked up because I want you to know that you are loved, Adam. I want you to know that we're here for you too, and that we love you, and that no matter what you went through in the past, with your father or your family, your friends, or anything like that, just know that those dark times are done.
Yeah, and also, I love you guys too. I mean, you guys welcomed me with open arms when I came here, and the rest is history. I'm here on your show, and I absolutely love this show. The guests you've had on in the past have had just amazing stories of how they have improved as well. Mm-hmm. And you're an amazing host. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I love you too, brother. So.
Yeah.
At the same time, I also, I have so many, people that in my life that impacted me in ways I never thought as well, because they treat me as if, I was like a brother to them, or, like like brother figure,
yeah, like
or
brother.
Every now and again, like a sister figure, because I have a lot of friends that are girls that are, that are just also amazing, but I try to kind of give off, I try to give off, that family vibe, like, the cool, someone
cool
who's
uncle.
the cool uncle. But, again, my friend Trevor, shout out to you, bro. Love you, man. He's also had a rough upbringing too. And you know what? He doesn't, he's one of my best friends from Alabama, who I look at as someone who is my younger brother.
Yeah.
He truly did change my way of thinking in terms of like trolling me and all that. I mean, he is awesome. I mean, he's worked so hard. He struggled. He's worked, but you know what? He also became a State Farm agent recently.
Oh shoot.
And seeing him, in a kind of like a brotherly aspect, I'm like, there's nothing that made me happier than to see him do the things that he loves. Right. It made me happy, and he's succeeding. I've told a couple people this. I'm like, there's nothing more in the world that I want to see my friends do than be happy and succeed.
Yeah.
Those are the two biggest things I want from everyone that I love, family-wise, friend-wise, everyone here, Emma, I'm not everywhere.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I look at it like that, and I truly want people to know that, again, I'll be there. If you need me, I will be a text away. I'm a call away. I understand there are things in life, you don't want to talk about. There are some personal things, and that's fine. That's okay. But I'm here for you.
And we're here for you, Adam. And thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, man.
Thank you guys for watching. And every guest has been... It's emotional to see to me that you guys are willing to open up. And I want to thank everyone for being on season 2. This is the 6th episode, so tomorrow it's like season ending, right?
Holy crap.
I know, right? I'm in back to back to back. I'm fucking tired.
No, this man works really hard.
But, going back to back to back, hearing people's stories like every day, I went to prayers yesterday, and I just cried. I went in there, sat, I just cried. I felt the Holy Spirit, and I just cried because, to know that all you guys are just now dumping this for probably the first time, or maybe in a while, for the longest time, on the show and to people and then on me, Like I tell people, don't look in the camera, look at me. You know, don't look at the camera, just look at me. Because honestly, it's just a real conversation between me and you know, whoever is on this guest, whoever was on this the chair, right? So, man, like I sat there and I was praying and I cried because I realized that these people are now getting to actually express themselves for the first time in God knows how long, you know, without a therapist, without, you know, they were just thugging it out. And to know that, to see that, to feel that, it's one of the most heartbreaking things because, you know, just knowing that now they're getting over it, but it makes me smile. Like this morning, Amanda came up to me. Shout out Amanda, episode 5. She came up to me. She was like, I felt so much better when I got home. And I wanted to cry when she told me that because you guys make me feel so much better when I go home. Knowing that I have a second family, knowing that I have, you know, even after this, when the show's done, you know, we come together, we all talk, and then we leave. You know, that's to me where I know like I'm doing a good job. Is knowing that after the show, you know, it's not like, all right, bro, all right, see you, fuck your life. You know, no, they like literally like actually staying here and like, you know, that was crazy, Alex. Like I never really talk about that. And then talking about it afterwards where people don't see it, you know, really means a lot to me because that's how I know our conversation meant a lot. Mm-hmm. You know, so I just want to say thank you again, Adam, for being on the show. Love you, man. Thank you so much, brother.
I appreciate it.
Any advice or anything you want to tell the world before you go?
Yeah, actually, there's a great quote I live by. If you're looking to improve upon yourself or have anyone, you know, else that you know that might need some self-improvement, one way I look at it is I'd rather hear a hard truth than a happy lie. Because how long is that lie gonna last?
Yeah.
You would rather hear something truthful that'll hurt a little bit, but knowing that you improve will affect not just you, but everyone else around you.
Yeah.
And you carry out that lie, you know, yeah, it's gonna be great if you don't tell them long term, but when it happens, when the day you tell them, it's gonna blow up.
It's gonna blow up? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. All right, well, thank you guys for watching the ZX Show, episode 6. Tomorrow's to episode 7, but you don't know that, but we know that. So Esteban's coming on the show. I can't wait to have him. He's also part of the crew. Thank you for being a part of the crew, by the way. And Joshua, always gonna shout out Joshua every episode. My boy in the bag doing his thing. Shout out Joshua. But thank you guys for watching. And remember, tell your friend you love them. Tell your family you love them. And just hug somebody today. You know, and if you're having a lot, just cry. Just cry, decompress, go do something to decompress yourself in a healthy way. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Peace. Bye.
Stay tuned.